And here we are, live talk with Becky Chernek. And boy, let me tell you guys, do I have an incredible show in store for you guys tonight. I have Zach, and hopefully I don't butcher that last name, Lieberman, and he is phenomenal, guys. He's got an incredible background, actually in automotive retail. He's been in the trenches throughout the USA. We're going to go ahead and dig into that and find out a little bit more about what that means. But also, he is the founder of AscendHQ. And I got to tell you, he is all about, the competitive play and how this AI works in the car business. So we're going to kind of find out what's going on with the AI play in the gaming world as it pertains to what's going on in the car business. So we'll get into all of that. And I'm super excited that, Zach, you've been able to make it on with us tonight. I know how busy you are. But before we get started, for those that are new to this channel, I'm Becky Chernek. I'm the host. I have been in automotive retail for over 30 years. And boy, let me tell you, I've had a fun time. I've had a fun ride the entire way. Let me tell you, I work with some of the best in the industry. And I founded my own F&I consulting company in 2001. And really, I engage, with folks, with dealerships, with their customers from the time the customer touches down on that dealership website, working with BDC, working with sales folks, presentation, they're on the front line, right? And then also working at the desk, because we know how critical that all is. It is the hub of all. It aligns with what goes on in sales as what takes place in that F&I office. We all know that, as well as working with F&I to finalize the transaction in the F&I office. I help auto dealers to significantly drive their performance through better processes, technology, and management. Now, one of the things some folks know, I was recently an F&I platform director, so I know how to move the needle and then some. I know what goes on in the trenches to make that happen. And okay, so in the post tonight, I put my URL to my website, bio, as well as Zach's. And so if you like what we're talking about, hopefully you do, you'll check out my website and then to find out additional details, and feel free to call me. Okay, so we are going live. We're going live on YouTube, Facebook. We are going live on LinkedIn and X. And if you like what we're talking about, please share, please like. And here we are, Zach. For our dealers and viewers, if you wouldn't mind, please, to get us started, share your brief background with us.
Yes, thanks again. Really appreciate the appearance here, Becky. I really appreciate the time. So a little bit about me, everybody. I've been in the auto industry for the last, I'd say, about 10 or 11, 12 years. I started at a tech company. I got my teeth sunk into it through actually when I was working on a food truck, of all things. So I had a bit of a colorful past when it comes to trying to get back on my feet and, getting going again over the last 10 years. So as we all say, we fall into automotive somehow. So one of my buddies was actually working at a tech company called Rodo, RODO.com. And that was a tech company that created a marketplace where dealerships could sign up. They could attach their inventory and list cars on this marketplace for customers to lease. And it was pretty popular in the tri-state area. I'm in the East Coast, based out of Stamford, Connecticut. So there was a lot of lease hot action back then. So that was like the prime of digital retail when things were really getting kicking with regards to all the DR racing going on. So from there, kind of worked my way up through the Roto ranks, got more experience working with dealers. And then I was fortunate enough to have a friend who was working at this other company who suggested, hey, I heard through the grapevine that Autify is hiring. So, why don't you reach out and see what you can make happen? So got to Autify, really started working with dealerships really closely in a book of business where I'd be in the field 3-4 days a week, going out to accounts, trying to make more deals happen and get dealerships to adopt digital retail, which to anyone in the know can be a bit of a challenge, especially in the earlier days, 4 or 5 years ago, when you had a plethora of options to go through. From there, I worked a lot more in the showroom as the Autify product progressed. I would be traveling cross-country, dealership to dealership, implementing Autify with an awesome team of colleagues on the Autify team, really working bell to bell, 7 to 9, sitting at the sales tower, watching deals happen, doing TOs, everything. So from that experience, I said after a while, hey, I've had my time at AutoFi. Now that I'm wrapping up and, I'm still in the AutoFi world and, the sureties world with auto, but I really fell in love with AI. So about 6 months ago, I started dibbling and dabbling with the idea of, hey, if I can use AI in a hobby, could I maybe help this with my career? And not many people know this about me, but I have played probably thousands upon thousands of hours of video games, as embarrassing as that might be. But I'm not embarrassed anymore because now there are systems being built by myself and some of my team members that through gaming, we could result in that helping auto dealers. So from there are sales. I'd say, I guess we can go into a little more about AI. Becky, if you want to slow me down, but I can get into what AI can really provide to a dealership in a couple of examples, or you
So
just
can I say it's very difficult to slow you down? I don't know if I want to or not. I find AI fascinating in that, how does, and we'll get into all of that because, I've been reading LinkedIn posts, Facebook posts, and that AI is taking over the role of the F&I manager. Watch out. It's taking, just like digital retailing, right? Digital retailing is taking control of F&I, and everybody was frantic. And really, at the end of the day, it was like, no, it is a way to communicate. When we communicate with customers, when we engage customer way, we can utilize these tools, technology to embrace that experience and make it easier on the customer. And when we make it easier on the customer, guess what happens? We're all performing at a higher level, I think, right? And so now it's like, okay, now we're talking AI. How is AI going to impact what I do in the car business? So I thought, Zach, how cool. You've been there. You've done it. You've been in the trenches. You've seen it. And now in the gaming industry, how are you utilizing, or how would you expect others to utilize AI as a way to impact sales performance, whether it be sales, whether it be in F&I, in the car business? How do you see that?
No, absolutely. So I don't know how many of us are gamers in the audience, so perhaps I should use a different analogy. So right now, customer calls the dealership, they inquire via chat, whatever it might be, right? You have a BDC team potentially who's the first line. You have salespeople that might act as a hybrid. You might have, just a salesperson or sales desk just working deals and it's not a big store, whatever it might be. The process is typically the same. A customer is going to inquire about a vehicle. The dealership's going to have some form of sales process that involves different people in the sales process. And that means communication, right?
Yeah.
So in the same sense, what most people are used to right now is logging into ChatGPT, for example, and you say, hey, I have this really cool idea for a recipe for dinner tonight, but ChatGPT, can you maybe give me some other options for the recipe of the meatloaf I should make tonight so it's a little better? In the same sense, at a car dealer, you could be working a deal with a customer, but instead of getting a recipe, concoction from the AI, you upload all of your last 90 days of sales performance data that's been tracked in a spreadsheet. And you say to the AI, hey, AI, whatever you want to name it for fun. I named mine and named her Anarule. I know it's an it, but I gave her a name. So I would say Anarule, I'm in a slump right now. I was selling XYZ cars a month for the last, 90 days, but the last 2 weeks I've just been kicking the can like nothing. So you'd say, all right, we need to level set Anarule based on all the data that I have available here. I'm going to upload this spreadsheet to you. I want you to review the spreadsheet and tell me, where are my gaps? Where am I missing here? Is there something that you could see that maybe not the naked eye could see, or something like that, right? That's how we're used to using ChatGPT for the most part. Even
That's right.
that might even be advanced for some people.
It is.
Right. What I'm now doing beyond that with some of my team members is taking that same idea where you're asking Anarule or whatever you name this ChatGPT, and you are seamlessly creating new versions of your own ChatGPT that will have a purpose in what you want it to do. For example, I've built several that will help automotive dealer personas in what they do. And that's great. Salesperson A talks to that specific AI, it gives them advice, tells them what to do. But how it works right now is Sally, who asked the AI what to do, that's just between Sally and that ChatGPT conversation. What's going on now with the development of AI with what's called MCP, which is Model Context Protocol, it enables seamless integration between different technology systems and those AIs. So now you have AIs that are no longer siloed, and they are now connected to different business units through infrastructure that we create. And infrastructure, not to be fancy, is, okay, where is the lot where we're going to store all the customer data? I need to tell this AI, whenever I need to calculate my performance on the last 90 days, whatever data we want, it's housed over here in our lot at the dealer, but in a digital space. And you're going to tell your digital employee that's working with your other digital employees, hey, when Zach asked Becky about F&I performance, I want all of you agents in the background to work together with your different expertises and pull from that same lot the information. And then let Zach know and Becky know what the next step to take is. And the magic is training, teaching through data over time, these AIs, what success and failure might look like. So for example, for fun, there are gamers out there, just like Major League Baseball players, that are the elite. So I like to name names sometimes. I hear it in Clubhouse all the time. Ali Rita, right? He crushes it with volume. So when I hear about volume, and I know someone in the car business who does a lot of volume, maybe if I built a bot or built an AI that would help Ali perform even better than he does. So he's already great. But what if you have a salesperson who's a green pea and they don't really know how to sell cars? And you're relying on the desk manager who the last 10 years barely gets up off the desk to go talk to a customer. So what if you can have an AI that never sleeps, is learning about the person using it, getting them better and better through data, quantifiable analysis, through video that you could do, through F&I turns, through audits of the CRM that I could unleash, my team of agents into your CRM to pretty much go through and tell you where the low-hanging fruit is. It's endless. You could bring an AI specialist in to say, hey, I need help with this, this, and this in my business unit. How could you help me, Zach? So just like you help Becky, kind of similar.
So here's the thing. I really love where you're going with this, but I think that the norm, right? They're having trouble understanding, the idea behind it. They feel as if there's Big Brother watching them. Big Brother's watching me. I don't like that. They don't see it as a way to help me to improve, to impact, utilize. See, I don't see it as a Big Brother so much. I see it as, show me where I don't have this right. Show me where I could get better. Show me how I can take what I'm doing right now, like you're talking about, and how I can make a greater impact in what I'm doing to make a difference. Let's just take metrics for a moment. Let's try to dummify this a bit.
You mean you don't want to go down the rabbit hole of the Ray-Bans and the necklace?
I do want to talk about the Ray-Bans. I freaking love those Ray-Bans.
They haven't come in yet, or I would have rocked them for you tonight, but they haven't come in yet. So,
I think that is super cool. So I was having a conversation with a friend of mine today about the Ray-Bans, and I thought, okay, imagine you have these glasses on, and you're in a meeting, and it's videotaping, it's recording everything that's going on in that meeting to summarize the event. And I'm like, how cool is that? I can see GMs wearing these glasses. I can see GMs in a meeting and dialed in and like, okay, because there's so much we might miss during a meeting that this is picking up that is helping us to say, okay, you missed this important piece of that whole thing. There's so many factors going on in a meeting. Sometimes we miss it. So it's kind of cool to be able to see some of the things that we miss and then have that summarized to create I guess an effect. So let's see what we've got going on here. And we have Andrew. Hey, Andrew, glad you're on tonight. Good to see you. But certainly feel free to include your feedback for sure. So I feel like, why wouldn't I want to do that? So I was talking to someone else who said, oh, okay, there's software out there now that can take a meeting and summarize it.
That's correct.
Right. And is that a bad thing? I don't know. I think it's kind of cool.
I think what you touched on, Becky, and you're 100% right with everything you said. The concern about Big Brother is why you would need somebody either on your team or someone to guide you through the process of overhauling, or I wouldn't want to say overhaul, you're essentially upgrading your business units through utilizing a software that might seem a little intimidating or dangerous. Because in reality, with the wrong person or the wrong settings, it could be pretty powerful. But that's why it should be respected in the sense of how much good it can do, as long as you're being compliant and you're making sure that everything you set up follows within the rules of your government, your legal parameters, everything. Just like anything else with the FTC, with what we're going through with the CARS Act and everything, and F&I and all that. So it's just another thing where, all right, got to find an expert, got to make sure we're integrating everything the right way. Data safety and hygiene, paramount. So who's got the most safe cloud provider that can facilitate all of this? And you just go down the checklist to make sure you're following, the right way about going about it.
So Mike Moran, he is a dealer or a previous dealer, and he is now the founder of Thank You Video. He's in many different industries, car business, real estate, health, you name it. But anyway, so Mike is saying, and he will be on next week, so it's going to be quite an interesting show there as well. So Mike is saying, a salesperson leaves the dealership, can they take the application with them?
I mean, do you mean in general, or do you mean through a AI? So what I haven't said is exactly what specific AI agents that I've created for, particular services that, I'm going to be offering in the near future. But I imagine if I created an agent that has to do with credit app submission, Mike, you and I both know after going through that, and what happens if so-and-so walks to the dealership, they see 3 credit apps face up, you're going to get hit with a huge fine. I would make sure that if I personally build something with the AI like this, that we would consider all of those type of legal ramifications. So again, it's just like any other piece of software. You have to build it in compliance or not, and then you deal with that at the other side. But yeah.
So the idea is helping a dealer to take their leads, to control their leads, to be able to manage that in a better way, right? To determine based off your sales associates, how did they respond? Could they have done a better job? What is the time element involved in responding to that lead? It can really do a deep dive, right? And really helping them to use these metrics in a meaningful way. Like, that's what I love about it. What I love about it is being able to dive deeper into that response time, but also not only that, did we do what we, and maybe this is uncomfortable for some, but how many times have we listened in on conversations? We've had programs that have listened into conversations all the time, but imagine where this is already in the background, listening in, and it determines, some of the criteria, whether or not it had been applied or not. But then also utilizing some of those metrics. And of course, for me, F&I is really important. And how deep into that can we determine that we have presented a menu in a certain way and the products in a certain way, and to impact the performance?
Great question. So think about this, right? The whole concept is not so much about AI. I think about it beyond the technology, where we are elevating human potential. So I am not the first person who has tried to do this, Becky. You try and do it every day, helping out dealers every which way you can. But as a technological example, there is a software company out there. I'm shouting them out tonight. I've never even used it. I've just seen it so many times that I think it's so cool, and I wish I could have used it at other companies. It's called Gong, GONG.io. And what Gong created several years ago, it's now a $7.25 billion company. And what they created was a software suite for salespeople. But salespeople like myself who worked in account management, dealer success, or as an account executive selling a product, right? Mm-hmm. This is a very successful company with people that sell at that company like nobody's business. They post about President's Club all the time, everything. And what do you think they do all day? They sell a product that sits in the background of Zoom calls and this and that. Every time they engage with a customer to sell the software, it is tracking them. But they don't see it as a negative. They see it as a tool that is enhancing them to improve what they do and make them more money. They don't think about ego. They think, wow, yeah, this is a little big brother-ish, but I really like that commission check that I got last week because all these people who use Gong love it so much because it's so easy to sell.
So how long does it take to train the application for specific use in a dealership, do you think?
That's a great question. So Mike, a lot of the questions you might have to do with my particular product roadmap. But right now, auto is a natural evolution in conjunction with the gaming side. So knowing how long it would take to train, it's a good question because I think it's really going to have to do with your data source. Like how much data do you have to immediately put into this custom AI that you want to build and then use that as the foundation of its, for lack of a better term, its brain, and where it stores all of those interactions. For example, I've been talking to my ChatGPT for the last 6 months. And in ChatGPT, you can export all of the content and your chat histories and the files that you've shared with ChatGPT, and you can drop that into Google Drive, right? Very simple for just a layperson like me in the car business, but loves tech, right? I click that, I drag it into Google Drive, and then I do what's called setting up an integration. But the integration is with ChatGPT, my rule, with Google Drive. So instead of me having to like manually paste in a Word document of everything I ever spoke about to my AI to keep them in the context of my life, I connect the ChatGPT to a source of data so that when I ask a question to ChatGPT, yes, it's using the original training that the OpenAI executives and team built to make ChatGPT, which that data ended at 2023. And then now you add on 20 years of automotive sales data in whatever way is best for that AI to ingest it and then process it and then take an action with it. That's what's beautiful now with this new model context protocol is that now not only can you house that 20 years of data, you have a super genius computer that you can teach to do what you want it to be its purpose and then have it analyze your business the way you want it to. And then, and then you can go have it execute tasks, not outside of the internet yet, but we're pretty much there where you could say, I want you to go buy this thing on Amazon. Let me know what it's done and send me an email or a text. So pretty cool.
So it's beyond cool. I mean, so dealers, dealers, you've been in the automotive retail space. Dealers are slow to change, right? To adopt to new ideas and strategies. You're going to get the bigger deals, the bigger groups that understand this.
Yep.
And you're going to say, and I'm going to say, warp speed ahead, because they're going to use every technology, every strategy, everything that they have to impact sales, to gain market share. This is how I see it. I see a huge advantage for auto dealer groups who understand this technology to master market share. And if you're not in on this, that can put you behind the 8 ball pretty quick. And I mean, am I like
No, you're 100%
out
right.
here? Am I like on another?
No, you're right. And actually, it's funny. It's funny how it ties back to Mike's question about the data stuff. So when you train AI, one of the things you need to consider to compete with, say, a competitor down the street, and you want to get ahead, is when did you give access to these AI agents your data? So if you wait 5 years from now, and the dealership group down the street or the store down the street jumped on this and started attacking their data to get the lowest hanging fruit fast, they're going to win because they are ahead, because their AIs are smarter, because now 5 years later, you decided to jump on the bandwagon and get an AI network of agents going through your data. And now these other people are already 5 years ahead of you as your company, because when a new employee gets hired now, you've got 20 years of sales data already digested and analyzed for a salesperson to go, hey, I got this customer here, their previous customer. They're looking at a 2024 Tundra, this and that. And then every single thing about that customer over the last 20 years, when their birthday email should go out. Maybe something cool happened and it was documented 6 years ago, and you can bring it up. Oh man, they came in on the same day they bought a car 6 years ago. How funny is that? You can personalize yourself as a salesperson. All AI is going to do is elevate people who are amazing at what they do already, and then also elevate people who might not be as great to be more average. And then they'll just keep getting better and better if they actually decide to read and listen to the training being given, as we know is a challenge. And I think one of the fine gentlemen here, Andrew, in the chat asked something similar. How would you get these old car dogs to make something happen? Honestly, Andrew, I
get buy-in from the older salespeople that are against anything with technology. Absolutely love that question.
It's a great question.
That is a super great question. Thank you, Andrew. Really on top of it.
That's one of the things that I think will also differentiate other AI providers, is understanding dealers and how they operate. So for example, an old car dog who's had a book of business for 15 years, and I'm coming with AutoFi or whatever other product to tell them, hey, here comes the new revelation. They've heard it a million times before, right? But then, with some people, I'd really just take them aside. Put your arm around them. Listen, I get it. We came in here. I'm going to be here for 2 weeks. I'm taking over your store with my gang here. We don't belong. I know. But I got a boss. You got a boss. I like to make money. You like to make money. So I'm going to be here for a few days. So I'll buy you lunch. You want to start there? And then you just start breaking the ice and getting through to the human side. And they're going, all right, show me this. What is this AI stuff? I see everyone else is using it now. The GM is killing me. I've ignored the training for the last 3 days. Zach, come here. That's how so many of my implementations would go with some of this tech. But then some of my best champions would end up being old car dog Sal in the back. And the last day that I leave, that's the guy or gal that came over to me and said, Zach, I know I gave you a hard time. Thanks for being patient with me. And that's when I would feel happy about what I was doing. So it's pretty cool.
Well, I've seen it time and time again myself. I know some of the hardcore sales.
Oh, I'm sure you know better than me.
I mean, they'll beat you up alive. They'll smack you right upside down your head if you let them. And it's okay. So I think one of the reasons why, my workshops were so amazing, awesome, is I want to hear what they have to say. I want to hear what you have to say. I want to know what your fear factor is. If I know what your objection is, I know how to answer it. It's got to come in. I have to be able to have a better understanding what that fear factor is. Why do you not see what's in it for you? Once they get it, they're like, wait a minute, what's in it for me? How can I impact my sales? How can I impact the list of customers that I already have, and even dig deeper into that to get even more opportunity? I'm I'm all in. It is a matter of addressing their concerns first and not blowing them off. I think that that is so critical, and making sure, hey, we've all been there. We've been there, done that. I get it. But listen to me now. Let me kind of share with you some ideas and why that works. Years back, Zach, when I was, we're not even talking AI then. We were talking base payment, and it was like a base payment on a menu. Think about that. It was so like radical. You're going to put a base payment on a menu? Are you kidding me? And I think you can almost relate to that, right?
Yeah,
And it's like,
absolutely. It's all I dealt with at AutoFi, where people would be like, wait a second, you're seeing a credit decision before they get to the store? Or what's going on here, Zach? Like, I don't know if I signed up for this. I'm like, well, that's what you signed up for, and that's why I'm here for the next 2 weeks. So let's do it.
amen. And that's the same thing. It's like, I'm not used to this. How does all this work? So we have another question. Can you apply this to generate a better digital marketing strategy?
Absolutely, Mike. Absolutely. To me, honestly, digital marketing strategy is even easier than working with dealers, because all you have to do is ingest, okay, here's where we started, right? This is our baseline metric for our performance. Let's run our campaign for 90 days. Let's ingest the results from whatever website, say it's LinkedIn, pop that into the Google Drive where the AI network can reach into. You will interface with whatever AI interface you'd like to use or power the analysis. There's different models and different ones that are better than others at certain things. And then you go, great, here's my question. I'm going to ask whatever I want and see what comes back. And the more tailored your prompt is, the more accurate and better context you're going to get. But you can also program in dedicated, responses like, oh, F&I report, and it'll know, okay, this is what I send when somebody prompts me about an F&I report and says I need a spreadsheet with the F&I report, send it to me. So there is some, I'm not trying to make it sound like magic, but honestly, sometimes when I'm even sitting at my desk and working with them, I'm like, wow, this is pretty wild. So
it is pretty wild. It is so wild. I mean, you can ask one question, you can deep dive. It can go on forever.
It's just whatever industry you're talking about, you're like, oh, cool. How's it going to help out the restaurants? Or how's it going to help out auto? Or how's it going to help out doctors? Is it going to help cure long-term diseases? Like, man, I can't wait to see what it's going to help out with in healthcare.
Oh, with healthcare. I mean, yeah. I mean, there's just so many benefits behind it, and being able to, dig deep and find out more details, more information. I was playing around with another search engine over the last couple of days called Perplexity. And I got away from it, but I'm like, let me double check on this. Let me see what's going on there. So like, there are other tools that are tapping not only into Google, but even into better, deeper search engines. I'm telling you guys, this is going to go into and some folks are like a little leery as far as that goes. How deep into this information can you dive into before enough is enough, before it gets too freaky? I happen to like the fact of, being in the automotive industry for as long as I have, and being able recently as an F&I platform director, there's nothing better for me to extrapolate the information and be able to dive into who's doing what where, and how I can impact or help them to impact change in certain areas. I mean, some folks, it takes a while to dig deep into a lot of those reports to get what you need to get to make that impact. This can do it so quickly and give you the tools necessary to be able to identify the weak areas, and also some ideas and strategies to help that individual impact that result. Is that right?
No, you're totally right. I mean, you just get lost down all of the ideas of thinking, okay, how do I improve all these different aspects? And you just get lost. So what in there specifically do you want? Is there anything you'd want illustration on, or more clarity on? Or give me the question one more time.
So for me to give you the question one more time. So here's the other thing. Can you share real world success stories on metrics from your own platform in a gaming environment? Something that highlights
Yes.
how the learner behavior changed or the performance improved because of this technology. Can you share real world information?
Yeah, absolutely. So I've been building this for the last 6 to 12 months. So just like any other tech product, you're getting it off the ground. It's not the most amazing, beautiful thing yet. So in its infancy, what it is we used a program called Discord. Discord is a chatting community. I'd say a lot of gamers use it, but a lot of businesses use it too. It's an alternative to Slack or Teams, very similar. And in these environments, instead of it being your coworkers, they're actually communities or businesses or influencers or gaming celebrities, whatever it might be. And they want to create a place where people can convene and communicate with one another, photos, videos, Zoom type of interactions, all that good jazz. But within there are what they call chatbots. And in the chatbot, you can program it to do pretty much what you want it to do within a digital confine of the space. So, for example, the AIs that I'm stringing together to create an AI agent network, they all sit in the back office, right? But at the front of my store is Discord. So in Discord or Slack, you log in as a customer who works with me at AscendHQ, and I'm giving you access to use all of my analysis tools, which are AIs, agents, to do whatever you need to do to better your business.
Mm-hmm.
So these bots are powered by those communities, and you can go there and engage it. And that's the face of the business to communicate with, like the ChatGPT web browser.
That's pretty cool. Now I know about Discord, but I had no idea it had all of that available.
And then to answer your second part of the question is essentially the manual version that I'm moving away from now with some integration partners that I'm hopefully going to wrap up here with soon and get a much more in-depth app going is submitting screenshots. So with AIs, they have certain abilities, like I said earlier, that can do certain things better than others. So one of them can take really great screenshots. So imagine you're an AI in this digital internet verse and you're like, click. And instead of it being a click of me at the selfie at the beach or, on a roller coaster, it's a click. Let me look at your performance data on Call of Duty, pop that over to that storage unit on the lot, like I told you about the dealer, and then have my worker, my porter go over, give it a look over, tell me how it looks, how did it run, go drive it down the street, give me a report back. And then I'm going to tell Zach or whoever asked the initial question through Discord or Slack, whether it's a CRM at the dealership that has chat, and you just use that to interact with the bot instead of some crazy coding screen in front of you and this and that. But
do you want to know, how much that went over so many people's heads?
yeah. Maybe not too many.
Zach, I love you.
We
but
get it.
And I see this is a huge, opportunity. I might have also, no doubt about it. I saw digital retailing as a huge opportunity. The problem with that was that the customer has to play along. And the customers wasn't playing along. They were walking back into the dealership like business as usual. Now, some of them did some of the digital journey, but not all of it. They stopped in their tracks. And then here we are. We talk about starting the deal from the time the customer left off to in dealership, right? Pick up where the customer left off, pick up where the customer, and none of that
absolutely
happens. So again, here is, I don't know. At the end of the day, none of this really matters when it comes to the customer response. This is different. This is
I don't know. It's interesting.
More detail to the learner to react to the behavior to impact results.
I got you. Think about I'm trying to think about the customer. So right now, a salesperson deals with a customer, right? They're inquiring with them. Shout out to Steve Ressler at DriveCentric, but they're on DriveCentric and they're engaging with a customer in the chat. Right now, there's an AI that's engaging with them via chat, right? But I haven't seen DriveCentric in a while, so I'm not sure, but perhaps Steve is exploring this. But eventually, or maybe I will explore it, is you create a bot, right? This bot lives in your CRM. And then it will go and scrub the CRM looking for that low-hanging fruit all the time, even when you're closed. But perhaps you assign that AI to Sally and Bob. And that AI learns about Sally and Bob and has all of the customer data tagged to Sally and Bob as like their AI assistant, right? So say Bob is out on vacation. I put on my vacation responder. But instead of it being a vacation responder that says, I'm away on vacation, you have a BDC AI that will take over in the meantime until you return. But then that AI will be advanced enough that AutoFi, any other digital retail provider, they will be able to seamlessly place these agents into their technology stack to work in tandem with the dealership's AI agents in their network. And that's why this model context protocol is so important that Anthropic, who created Claude, the AI, came out with to seamlessly now change how integrations work in general. And now everybody who knows about an iPhone, where's my iPhone cable? Here we go. So right here, we have a USB-C cable, right? Two of the same sides. With integrations, if I was at AutoFi still and I wanted to integrate, well, it's already integrated, but if I wanted to create it from scratch and integrate with DealerTrack, Route One, anything like that, you had to schedule a meeting, sit down with all the different technology partners, engineers, high-level product people, probably a VP level person if it's going to be, a real integration like that, and strategize. And then you have to come up with, okay, what do we need to build on each side of the pond here so that the two sides can meet? That, for people foreign to the tech development process, it was resource intensive. Depending on the scope of a project, it could take much longer. It could be expensive. But with this protocol, for these particular integrations, you can make them much more seamless, like plugging in a USB-C cable. So instead of everybody being on Android with here or a different charger cable over here for a different company, you walk up to that company and say, hey, do you guys use MCP for integrations? And they'll be like, yeah, do you all yet? And they'll be like, yeah, we do. And they'll be like, yeah. And then you're off to the races because the technology partners are advanced and you know how much easier the integration will be for both your companies. So right now, we're still kind of having big companies or tech companies still figure this stuff out for themselves and how they're going to implement this in their own technology companies. So dealers, tech companies, everybody is going through this shakeup down to the food truck, driver that I used to be, 10, 15 years ago. So, and AI can help that person depending on how they want to implement it. You know what I mean? It's just going to elevate.
I do think that we have larger automotive groups that would and are working with this and see the benefit behind it and how it can do so many different things behind the scenes to really impact performance. So many dealership teams will still rely on outdated or traditional training methods.
And they work. It's just this is the new. This will be the new thing.
How can you gamify it? How can you make it fun? That's one of the things that I talk about. I get so frustrated with some of this regurgitated training. It's boring. It's flipping boring. And it's like, how can I make it that the individual is getting in bite-sized pieces of good information that can make a difference? So also I've talked about champion AI role play. I love it. I think it's key. Nobody wants to talk to me or to try to do a role play in front of me. They get really uncomfortable. They don't like doing it in a video. But they see the importance of being able to role play. Imagine having that role play with an avatar who's fun, right? Fun.
And it's not only
not
fun,
intimidating.
It's not intimidating, and you can, if you understand it or have somebody who can guide your way in understanding how in depth you can go with it. Like we joke that I named it Animal, right? So I have my own instance of ChatGPT, but when I got it, I didn't treat it like a tool because I love Marvel movies. I'm into fantasy books. I loved Lord of the Rings, all that type of jazz, right?
But
So as a
see,
kid,
you do understand that no one knows has any idea what you're talking about. Like, you do understand that.
I love like all these fantasy cool
I know what you're
worlds,
talking about. I play, and I've been playing for years. But anyway, in the gaming, and I
No,
have
I just
to
mean
love it.
children-esque fantasy, Dune, Star Trek,
Don't get
Star
everybody started.
Wars.
I mean, not that, but I love the gaming. I love it. I had my own theater room where I played. I mean, I took the paddles. I love it. But, not everybody gets the idea behind these AI agents. They just don't get it. Like you and I talked about, Becky, you got Pro, you got Chat GPT, you got Pro, Go Pro, you got your own agent. Now you're talking an agent talking to another agent. Now you're really blowing people's minds. It's like, what is he talking about?
My mind is still blown. That's why this is so fun to talk about, because everyone who's like in the know of AI right now, we are all in this, I think, this bubble where we're all alone at our computers being nerdy about AI, but we are all in this joint revolution of watching humanity evolve and knowing before the rest of all of us know how helpful this technology is going to be. And that it's not this, oh no, they're coming for my jobs. Like naturally, yes, some jobs may get made redundant through the use of AI, but that is not a bad thing. To me, at least, that creates new opportunities for whoever was doing those types of jobs to now use that human capital elsewhere to benefit society or to make money. Maybe you don't have to work 30 years, doing such and such, and you can go do this. I don't know. Right. Or you can eventually robots doing your carpentry business where you just plug in Anurul to your carpentry bots and you're running a carpentry business with AIs that are carrying around lumber.
I like the fact of, reducing the heavy lifting. Anytime we can do that makes my life that much easier. When you're streamlining the process, when you're trying to identify folks within your organization, from sales to desking to who those individuals are and how that should all play out in the competitive way. It's a competitive play to what happens in F&I, who's doing what where, and how you can identify that sooner in the game as to what we can do to impact that performance. What can we do to train up, to make different? Sooner that we recognize that, the more impact that we have. That's how I see it. Being able to take the tools and be able to eradicate a significant change. When I go into a dealership like you, I go in and I identify the profit leaks. Can you imagine how much faster this is going to be?
Oh,
Jesus.
Say that right now. Because what I'm building is now that connection that we described, right? Yeah. So I'm going to be putting into the infrastructure. I'm already doing it to connect, Vin Solutions, to connect XYZ CRM, so that we could go to a dealer and say, hey, you want me to audit your CRM and let you know where all the low-hanging fruit is? I got you. All that type of stuff. Oh, you want to get automated email set up? I got you. You want a voice agent to answer the phone that's an AI and then it could pass off the transcript into your CRM so the salesperson can use it in the morning? I got you. That's what's possible. Your imagination now almost becomes what limits you. And then how well you write or speak to the AI to formulate and structure your idea, and then your process of refining it, iterating in real time. So that's why it's so powerful for engineering, in my opinion, for code, because in real time, you get feedback right away from a super genius or a very well-trained At this time, I'd say junior level coder to a little bit mid-level manager skill level, if anyone has that as a frame of reference. But you can spin up a minimum viable product of any company you want in minutes. Whether it's hooked up to everything and it's going to work perfect, or you got to keep refining it, sure. But imagine you're a painter or you're Da Vinci, and instead of Da Vinci having to paint that whole painting over the whatever time it took him to do it, you could get your first version like that. You can get the first snapshot of how your whole team is doing it, your 50-store group, like that. And then from that, you go even deeper with it. Okay, great. I saw Connecticut. Show me New York. Okay, show me New York, Connecticut, New Jersey, Philadelphia combined compared to these 5 other states in the West. Why are we performing so well in these 5 states, but over here we're not? Anurul, how should I adjust our strategy as the VP of finance here to increase our numbers XYZ? And instead of you going to your boss or a junior employee or relying on somebody else,
where are you capturing that data from?
You capture the data from the DMS or from the CRM.
From the DMS from each store.
Yeah.
So you're talking about a larger automotive group to be able to capture that information, because how do you compare it to other DMS and CRMs otherwise?
Well, that's the thing, and where you get into the fun of compliance and how you would go about actually executing once you have something like this built. So, and that's why this is true innovation, because you're asking questions that are so on the frontier. Wow, when you do build this and one dealer is using it and you want to keep the data safe from other dealers, how do you go about it?
Right.
And then we're all dealing with this right now, whoever's in this space.
I imagine there are larger automotive groups definitely in this space. I mean,
I would imagine, way further than probably you or I.
They own it and then some. There are major companies that are getting involved in this, and consultants going in and helping dealers really to have a better understanding how to put together that footprint, right? And getting the benefits from it. But again, they're few and far between. And so I don't know. I watched digital retailing. I saw it for what it was, and I'm not saying that I'm lost in digital retail. I'm abandoning it. I think it's changed along the way, right? It's evolved along the way. I think love the idea behind one line to in dealership component. But
I think it's just become part of the DNA.
You have to, okay. But in this case, you have to, it's about the customer experience. We built it based on the customer experience, wanting to shop online, right? Not necessarily on the dealer experience. The dealer said, I like keep doing what I've been doing and not changing a damn thing. Okay, I'm going to change it because this is how the customer wants to buy, right? Making it simple, easy for the customer buy. Would that be fair to say?
Absolutely.
Okay. Then we found out, guess what? That a lot of customers didn't want to necessarily buy that way. They're still walking into a dealership, not to say that they haven't shopped online. They have. But they bypassed everything else and come into the dealership. That's happened. The thing is that with AI, we're capturing information immediately. It doesn't depend on necessarily the customer's behavior so much. We're capturing that information earlier on, however which way the customer behavior is to impact sales. Am I saying that right?
No, you are. And it's we're going back to what? We're going back to data is the power, right? So the dealer that's going to get ahead of this and use all of that marketing data with AI and have AI analysis powering it behind it, they're going to be ahead in their analyzation of their market than their neighbor. To me, it's just science or math. And if there's another AI expert out there, by all means, you can shoot me a DM after this and correct me if I'm wrong, by all means. But that's as far as I understand it at present. So getting a data moat per se. Yeah. But again, I think it goes back into how creative you can be in your execution and implementation of the technology? Do you create a system that utilizes all of the dealer data that will then be leveraged by the AI that's helping your individual salespeople do better? And then when you design it and you integrate it with your partner, say I'm the partner that the dealer chose, we're going to do a whole session where we say, okay, here's what I've got and how I can do it for you. What do you really need? And then let me go back and scope it. And then I'm going to go to my command center here with all of my AIs in front of me and say, okay, how can we really build this unique system based on the foundation that I've built that goes across all these other business mediums and make it great for so-and-so Ford or Toyota or Jaguar, whoever it might be.
So in your dealership box, I'm sure you've had plenty of conversations with dealers. Is there any kind of resistance that you're getting from a dealer perspective?
Not really. Have I been talking to probably mostly progressive types of dealers that are looking to be on the fringe, and I'm fortunate to, be friends with some of them? Yes. Have I tried the old car dog to, try and do this yet? Not so much. Am I afraid of that? No, it's more so I know that when I bring something to an old car dog or old car dog leader, quote unquote, I don't want to say old, just old school, I suppose.
Yeah.
They're going to want to see, all right, what do you really got? Let's spin it up right now. Show me. Really, let me test it. And the really good operators that I know, they're not the ones that say, Zach, I watched your demo. Like they shrug you off. They're like, no. When you're done training them, you're going to come train me. Because then I know we have a real deal because that operator wants to know it better than their team so they can hold them accountable. So it's just like anything else. It's just another technology that's come to dealers and will help them get elevated, or if dealers ignore it, they'll leave it behind and they'll do what they always do. But I think it should be embraced by, every type of car person.
I can't imagine that an auto dealer wouldn't want to know more about this and how to utilize AI to impact their business. Many years ago, I don't know how close to, I'm going to try to use this as best as I can. But years back when my father, he's no longer alive, but at the time he was watching this one movie and it was about, and I can't remember, something about the eggs in the pool, and they were able to go into the pool and
Gremlins?
What?
It's reminding me of Gremlins, like they dip in the water and they
they were able to stay younger. They're older people. They were older people, and they had these eggs in the water in the pool, and they would go into this pool, and they would get younger. And he was fascinated by this whole thing. He's like, could you imagine if we could do this? So.
Well, that's what you're getting at. And that's why I mentioned, is it great for dealers and we all want to make some money and make a living and take care of our families? Absolutely. But I think we could both say, and anyone watching this, that if someday in the next couple of years, the cure of cancer comes out because we had AIs going around the clock to cure that, I'm sorry, your father passed away. My mother passed away from cancer 11 or 12 years ago. So it would just make me so happy to know that other people would never have to experience something like that.
I know. Just think about what the potential this has to be able to do that. Right. And also maybe to help others not age so much. I don't know. There's so much that could be available. Here comes Chris. Hey, just like training Becky, you train sales, but the managers never show up to learn and enforce it. I use the term manager very loosely. Where'd you come, Chris?
I like your style, Chris, because honestly, Chris is dead on, and it was kind of
he wants me to get away from that egg story. I don't know if it worked or not, but there's so much truth to it.
But that's what I'm talking about is basically like right now I'm working with stores and with dealer owners that, quote unquote, get it. You know what I mean? So they're not, I'm not walking up to a dealer. Hey, I got this great idea here. I could save your dealership. Like, not at all. It's like, hey, so-and-so, or hey, Miss so-and-so, like, I know we worked together at a previous digital retail company. I'm kind of working on something cool. I'd appreciate if I could like test it out, or we have a conversation, like that kind of thing.
The
Oh,
movie was
Cocoon. That's right.
Cocoon, that's it.
Got you.
Do you remember that movie? What a great movie. But my
Gotcha.
father just absolutely loved it. And it was, yeah, super cool. I don't know. I just kind of thought through that. There we go. A LinkedIn user. Cocoon. Thank you guys. It's all about that heartwarming moment. But it was so, I even watched it again growing up later. And I'm like, yeah, how cool was that? And maybe that's what we're looking at, right? It's the cocoon. Everybody's talking about Becky. It's the cocoon. So I think that's what we have to look at, and it's a positive thing, and helping dealers to, and again, the ones that want to, the ones that don't aren't going to be there. I don't know. I mean, I think this is and you get to the point where you've said this a million times, and somehow or another, some folks catch up, and I that's all great. But this one is, if you don't really get this AI, I think it's going to be tough, like you said, to catch up.
Yep.
There's so much more to it.
Get invested in it, because it's not only going to help your career, but sure, it's like anything at work, right? You have access to this great software at your job, or your job gave you a laptop, right? Use that. If you have access to AI through your company and they're paying some enterprise provider to do this, go use it, because it's so cool to play with. But then at home, and that's the other great thing about these AIs, a lot of them, they're not that expensive. So like if you want one for personal use, I don't know, some of them are free, some of them are 10, 20, 30 a month for a lot of, capabilities. But then like we joked about, Becky, I'm paying XYZ for the pro plan. So, but that's for me, and that's what I do right now. So of course I'm going to probably pay a little more than, Jill or Sally Dealer, who wants to take a little stab and see what Zach and Becky were talking about last night. So that's all.
Well, hopefully they do, and hopefully they check out this live and are like, "Hey, I have additional questions," and they can either certainly reach out to you via. I think you went ahead and put some information on the post. I
If you
shared
want
your
to
information.
shoot me a message on LinkedIn, that'd probably be the best. If you want to visit the website right now, that's my gaming analytics website. I'll probably be spinning up my consultation services and this and that. If you want me to build anything AI, give me a call.
And you should, definitely. This guy, Zach, he knows his stuff and then some, and he's very friendly too. He does, he'll dumbify it down for those folks that I think need it. Like I certainly did. You really helped me have a better understanding, and I think it's happening. I think it's way of the future, and it's really going to help us all to help impact performance and sales. So there you have it. Any last minute comments?
I think we got one in there from Robert, as well as Mike. Oh yeah, Mike, anytime. Really appreciate you tuning in.
Great topic. Thanks, Becky and Zach. Mike Moran, thank you. And again, hey, Mike, I just want to tell you folks too, that Mike Moran is going to be on my live next week. Can you believe it? I finally got Mike Moran to show up. He's only been on these participating for months. Mike is going to be here. We are going to be talking about his thank you video. We're talking about the customer journey and all sorts of stuff. So it's going to be really what's happening in the car business today, guys. And then we have Robert Pierce, Dealer Types. She is, and me right now.
Oh, so Miss really right now. Sure what that so right. That is so accurate. And for Robert, you can send me an email at zack@ascendhq.gg, or you can just shoot me a DM on LinkedIn. It's just linkedin.com/ the first initial of my name and then my last name. So ZLIEBERMAN.
And then, sorry, Zach. Oh, no.
No, you're good. No, Mike was just, he typed my name with a CH and he was just being cool and fixed it.
I know. I butchered it a couple times.
Oh, you're fine. We're all car people here. We're just chatting, having a good time.
So, and then we have, thanks guys, Chris Kerr. Robert, do you want to go ahead and just tell him how to find you on LinkedIn again?
Oh, for Robert, yeah, you can just find me at linkedin.com/Z Lieberman. Oh yeah, I'll leave it in the post, man. Or I'm on the post anyway, so go for it. I'm not used to this.
So leave it in the post. We'll do that. Thank you, Robert. And then Chris, again, thanks, guys. Thank you, guys. I think we had, I mean, what a great live. I think it was incredible information. Really. Hopefully I did you justice, because this is
no, I had a great time. I'd be happy to always talk shop.
Being able to try to keep up with you, Zach, is not easy, but it's fun. And that's what it's all about. I like to always stay on top of it and, really find ways to make my life a lot easier. Anytime I can streamline something, create a way to impact my sales and my performance, because at the end of the day, that's how I get paid. So Absolutely. If I can make that work and be more if I can make a bigger paycheck because of it, I'm going to do it.
Absolutely. Okay. That's what we're all here for, baby. Let's go. We're all going to crush it with AI. I'm just so excited. Like, there's so much opportunity coming. AI is going to change so many lives. And I can't wait over the next, 2 years to see on LinkedIn and see other dealers posting and talking about how AI is going to, influence what they're doing, hearing all the Clubhouse conversations, have some chats at NADA. Like, I just can't wait to see what everybody else is doing.
I might track out a little bit on the Clubhouse. I've never been really that great at it, but I don't know. I find it awkward, but I'm going to get better at it.
I was going to say, if you want to join us every morning at 6:45 to 9, David Long and Thomas Iersitano host a call called All Things Used. Or it used to be called.
I know about it.
Oh, you do? Okay, yeah.
I know about it, but I've been
Come hang.
I'm just like awkward there. I feel weird. I don't know why I can't get my act together.
We'll go together, Becky. We'll go together. I got you. Come on. We'll go together.
Meet you at 6:45. Hold my hand. Becky, are you there?
Absolutely.
One time, Larry Feldman actually, I think I was washing my hands. I don't know what I was doing, but it was hilarious. He turns my speaker on or something, and I don't even know what the hell that was. Like, why would you turn my speaker on? And we hear water in the background. I'm like, I guess it's me.
What's going on back there?
Ever since then, I haven't been back.
Gotcha.
I freaked out. Okay. Well, listen, thank you guys. I appreciate you.
Thanks, everybody. Thank you, Becky, especially. Thanks so much.
Really and thank you for being here with us for Live Talk with Becky Chernek. And I'll see you next Thursday at 8 p.m. with Mike Moran. Thank you again, Zach. Thank you. It was a lot of fun.
Appreciate it.
Thank you.